Hare Krishna, dear devotees, a very warm welcome to our program on Srimad Bhagavatam study. Today we will continue our discussion uh, which we left in the previous class last Sunday. We were discussing about uh, from 25th verse uh, till 29 till 39th verse. We were supposed to discuss in the previous class. We concluded our discussion at the 24th verse of the first canto of the first chapter of the second canto. Now we will continue the discussion starting from the 25th verse onwards, and we'll conclude this chapter 1 of the second canto till the 39th verse. Overall, this is our 54th class. The title of this chapter is The First Step in God Realization. So we will do the Mangalacharan prayers. Rakesh ji, who is doing the Mangalacharan?
Mangala Mataji Prabhu.
Oh, Mangala Mataji doing Mangalacharan. Very nice. Double Mangal.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Can I start?
Please.
Om Ajnanatimirandashta Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Padakamalam Shri Guruna Vaishnavancha श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्विताञ्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे.
Very nice,
ओम
Mataji.
न,
Please continue. Yeah.
या ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. हरे
Very
कृष्णा
nice.
प्रभुजी. थैंक यू.
Very nice, Mataji. Mangal, double
थैंक
Mangal.
यू.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Now we go to the recap section of our class. Just give me 1 second. I'll enable the animation part of this. Uh, okay. So we. Vrindavaneshwari Mataji, are you ready for sharing the summary?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my
Yes,
pranams to
Mataji.
you
Yes.
and pranams to all the devotees here. Yes, I'm ready whenever you tell me. So, for the last class, we started from verse 12 and we ended up till verse 24. So, Maharaj Parikshit is very much concerned whether he will be able to do bhakti since he has got only 7 days left now. As earlier in 11 verses, to the question that Maharaj Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami, what is the duty of dying man? To that, Maharaj, Shukdev Maharaj, he says that the duty of the dying man is to do bhakti. Shrotavyam, Kirtitavyam, Smartavyam. So Maharaj Parikshit is concerned, how will I be able to do bhakti since I have got only 7 days now to live? To this, Shukdev Goswami answers that, oh, you have got 7 days. I shall tell you, Khatwang Maharaj, he had just one muhurta, that is 48 minutes only left. And while doing bhakti in those last moments of his life of one muhurta, even he achieved the goal of reaching to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, back to God. So this is enough time he assures Maharaj Parikshit. So now, after answering this, Maharaj Shukdev Goswami he goes on to explain the intricate details of Ashtanga Yoga. Now, some may ask why did he explain Ashtanga Yoga? Because in the Sabha, in the assembly where all this conversation was going on, there were many transcendentalists who would not accept the opinion of Shukdev Goswami that the process of reaching to the Supreme is through bhakti, by hearing, chanting, and remembering the Lord. So he is taking now the process of Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga for those who think that this is the process to reach their desired goal. So that is the link in the next few verses. Then we learn from verse 15 to 24 all the details of Ashtanga Yoga. So very interestingly, the 5 stages, that is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Prat- Pratyahara, and I think I left some, Pranayama and Pratyahara, that have been explained from 16 to 19th verse. And then Shukadev Goswami he explained when one goes to dharana stage, then one has to fix his mind on some ashraya. Dharana ashraya is required. So we learned this with the help of a very nice chart that Prabhuji gave us to understand. So dharana ashraya for those who have, after performing all those 5 stages, then there are yogis who have still certain desires left in them. For them, Shukdev Goswami advises that they can take dharana ashraya to be the Virat root of the Lord. But for those transcendentalists or yogis for whom the desires have gone away, they can take dharana ashraya to be the Paramatma feature. They can meditate on the Lord as Paramatma in their own heart. So that was what I think we discussed in the last class, Prabhuji. So if
Yes.
something is missing, so you can kindly add up and elaborate. Thank
No,
you so much.
very nice, Mataji. Very nicely done. I would specifically point out that the summary that you presented was very nice. Actually, this is the way I would request other devotees also to present the summary. Uh, what I have noticed is when the devotees generally present summary is mainly using the book language or very formal language. They present their summary or prepare their summary. But the idea for presenting summary is mainly to explain in a very easy and a very simple your own language. Uh, uh, so what we see today, Vrindavaneshwari Mataji presenting was the summary in her own style, in her own language, very nicely and simply. She has put everything. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now we will move to the subject matter of the class today, the 54th class that we are doing today. So we will wind up this chapter. Uh, although we will start our discussion from 25th verse, but most of the discussion today will be, or I would say the rest of the chapter one is all about a little bit all about explaining on the Virat Roop. So we will very quickly glance through that Virat Roop section of the of this first chapter, and that should finish it very fast. So as you can see, we are on the third section of the first chapter, which is Ashtang Yoga for attaining liberation. And Vrindavaneshwari Mataji very nicely summarized that why this Ashtang Yoga discussion has started, mainly to pacify those sages in the assembly who had a different opinion about this question, what is the duty of a dying man. So Shukdev Goswami's opinion is it is pure devotional service. But there are many other transcendentalists who have this opinion that maybe Dhyan Yoga or maybe Gyan Yoga or maybe Karma Yoga or maybe some other yoga uh, is the process of that has to be taken when the person is about to die. And then, in order to satisfy that section of those sages who think that Ashtang Yoga is the process that a dying man should follow, uh, he start to give some elaboration on the process of Ashtang Yoga. And then later on, you will see at the beginning of the second chapter of the second canto, he will also give a little explanation about Karma Kanda, and then he will once again come back to the process of Ashtang Yoga, explaining the Dharanashraya of a advanced yogi or a detached yogi. So we will see that how it goes. So what I will start with is once again with the recollection of the chart that we flow chart that we discussed last time. And why I'm discussing this flow chart, actually this flow chart is discussed in the last the second part of the first chapter and the first part of the second chapter. So you will see that whatever is being discussed in the uh, remaining part of the first chapter and the beginning of the second chapter is neatly captured in this flow chart. So what this flow chart is telling you, this flow chart is telling you at the moment the yama niyama asana pranayam pratyahar. So these are the uh, till pratyahar, these are the five preliminary stages of Ashtanga Yoga, or you can say preparatory stages. Preparatory stages. Preparatory means in Ashtanga Yoga primarily is all about dhyan, is all about meditation. But before reaching to that meditation stage, which starts with dharana, uh, there is a preparation required, and preparation starts with yam, niyam, asana, pranayama, and pratyahar. Pratyahar means what? Pratyahar means withdrawing the senses from the sense objects and directing them internally. Directing them internally. Then comes the sixth stage. Now, this sixth stage is this big box. And what is written? This sixth stage is dharana. This is the big box. And when the person has finished pratyahar stage, and then he enters into dharana. In dharana, what happens? In dharana, the practitioner is supposed to focus his mind on the form of the Lord, overall form of the Lord. So that description of the form of the Lord we will see is given in the second chapter. So there is elaborate description given there. So the idea is he needs to meditate on that form of the Lord. Now the point is, uh, not every yogi, not every Ashtanga yogi is ready to meditate upon that form of the Lord. Somebody who is following this Ashtanga Yoga process, some Ashtanga yogis may be attached, may have desires, material desires in their heart. So for them, we are calling them as neophyte yogi or attached yogi or a beginner yogi, like that. So he's still not ready to meditate upon the Paramatma form of the Lord, which is actually the Dharanashraya of a advanced yogi. Advanced yogi does not have any desire. So you will see a flow chart goes like this. So after the Pratyahar stage, if the yogi still has desires in the heart, he still has desire in the heart, maybe yes, then he's a neophyte yogi. He's not advised to meditate upon the Paramatma form. He's advised to meditate upon the Virat Roop of the Lord. So the Dharana Ashraya is, or the object of meditation is Virat Roop. Then, if this yogi has no desires, he's actually cleansed of all the material desires, he does not have any desires, then the dharanashraya of this advanced yogi is Paramatma, like that. Now, moving ahead, so after this yogi who is advanced, his dharanashraya is Paramatma, and he starts to meditate upon that Paramatma. Paramatma means meditate upon Paramatma means meditate Paramatma in his completeness, in his whole form, complete form. And then after that dharanashraya or dharana stage for this advanced yogi, he enters into the next stage, which is called dhyan. In dhyan, what does he do? In dhyan, we will see that detail in the next chapter. Little detail is there in the second chapter. But just to tell you here itself, in dhyan, what he do? He meditates upon the individual limbs of the Lord body. uh, Starting from the lotus feet, then the calves, then the thighs, then the torso area, then the chest, then the lotus face, like that. So, like that, the meditation actually becomes even more concentrated, even more deeper. He focuses on each of the limbs of the Lord, starting from the lotus feet. So, without losing focus on the overall form, now he meditates upon only on the lotus feet, and then maybe on the calves, or maybe on the thighs, like that. He moves on. Then, after perfecting his dhyana, then he moves to samadhi. In samadhi, actually, it is even more deeper. Then in samadhi, what happens is, he has this realization of Brahman. He realizes the Brahman, the Brahma Jyoti of the Lord. He is now able to realize that. And after, once he is able to do Brahman realization, then with the help of the Shat Chakra Yoga, what is that Shat Chakra Yoga? Again explained in the next chapter, second chapter. In Shat Chakra Yoga, he raises his Prana Vayu from the Mooladhar Chakra, from the bottom part of his body, Mooladhar Chakra, and he raises, bring it here at the Agya Chakra, which is situated between the two eyebrows. He brings it here, and then uh, once he is able to lift his pranavayu to the Agya Chakra, then the liberation takes place, and he straight away goes to the spiritual Brahman Jyoti and merges into the Brahman Jyoti. So that is the uh, uh, path for the advanced yogi. Or Yama, Niyama, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharan, and then goes to Dhyan, and then Samadhi, Brahman realization, Shat Chakra Yoga, and then liberation. But then what happens to this neophyte yogi? For this neophyte yogi, once he starts to contemplate, meditate upon the Virat Roop, then two possibilities are there. One possibility is that he clears all his desires. There are no more desires now. He has developed that attraction or that loving relationship with the Paramatma form of the Lord. And then once he has cleansed all his desires, then again the same path of the same as advanced yogi follows. So that is clear to you. If he still has desires, then what does he do? Then he has to go to a gradual process of liberation. So in the previous process of liberation, which is the advanced yogi, the liberation happens very fast. But with the neophyte yogi, even after meditating upon the Virat Roop, if he's still not able to clear his desires, then he goes to gradual stages of liberation. And that is known as Krama Mukti. Krama means gradual. Again, this is, you will study in the second chapter, which we are going to study today. Uh, so Krama Mukti. Now, Krama Mukti would be Vaishvanara Loka, Shishumar Loka, Mahar Loka, Brahma Loka. Like that, he will be taken to different lokas, and ultimately, then he will get liberation like that. So I hope this chart is very clear. Because why I am giving you this chart? Because this chart is the subject matter of the last part of the first chapter and the first part of the second chapter, which we have not studied in detail. The second chapter we are going to study today. But if you know this chart well in advance, then the discussion and the explanation of verses as we will proceed will become much more clearer to you. Okay. So any doubt till this point, you please let me know. I will just take one or two questions if you have any doubt. If it is clear, then we are well set to study or advance our study further.
So, Prabhu, in this case, the neophyte yogi or the advanced yogi,
Hmm.
but both are not reaching to the lotus feet of the Lord, correct? In
Yeah.
this
So
case,
their objective in Ashtanga yoga, the objective is not to reach lotus feet of the Lord. The
Correct.
objective is mainly to liberate from
Mm-hmm.
the samsar, from the
Okay.
cycle of birth and death, and merge into Brahma Jyoti.
Okay. But
So
for neophyte yogi, even if he is experiencing this Virat Roop and everything, but still, if he has no desire, then he will land up with this Krama Mukti, correct? That is what you mean.
if he has desires, then he land into Krama Mukti.
Okay. Otherwise, he can move towards the lotus feet of the Lord if he goes ahead
No.
into that.
See,
Hmm.
Ashtang Yoga, lotus feet of the Lord is not the objective of the
Okay.
yogi.
Okay. Okay.
Lotus feet of the Lord is the objective of the bhakti yogi,
Bhakti Yoga. Okay.
which Shukdev Goswami has recommended to Parikshit Maharaj in the first 11 verses of first chapter of second canto. That
Okay.
smartavya, kirtitavya, shrotavya, kirtitavya, smartavya. Of what? Of
Okay.
whom? Of Lord Hari.
Lord Hari.
So that is bhakti. But
Mm-hmm.
but there might be some yogis, some transcendentalists in the assembly who don't agree to this, who
Okay.
think that Ashtang Yoga or Brahman realization or impersonal liberation is the goal of life,
Yeah. It's the path for liberation,
is
for
the path for
mukti.
liberation, or the duty of a dying man.
Exactly. Okay.
Hmm.
Very
So
clear, Prabhu. Now it's
in
very clear.
order in order to address that audience,
Mm-hmm.
this elaboration is going on now.
Okay.
Otherwise, Shukdev Goswami has answered all the questions that Parikshit Maharaj asked at the end of the canto number 1.
Yes.
What is one supposed to do in general? What is one supposed to do specifically if he's about to die? What is one not supposed to do? All those 2 3 questions that he had asked, he was answered all those questions in the first 11 verses of the first chapter of the second canto.
Yes.
Now he's elaborating it further. Hmm. So I hope
Very clear.
it is very clear,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Thank you.
So when we talk about Dhyan Yoga or Ashtang Yoga, we are not talking about going taking to the lotus feet of the Lord or serving the Lord in the spiritual world. These people, Ashtang Yogis, go to the Brahma Jyoti. They float in the Brahma Jyoti. That place is very very peaceful. That place is very very peaceful. There is no lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy. It is very peaceful, but it is not joyful. It is not joyful. The place becomes joyful if you target lotus feet of the Lord. There you have the joy of serving the Lord and having a joy of serving the devotees of the Lord. That's where you enjoy the most. So that is where uh, everywhere in Bhagavad Gita and in Srimad Bhagavatam you will see that the bhakti yogis don't even desire liberation, although that stage is very very exalted stage in terms of peacefulness, in terms of getting rid of lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy. It is very very peaceful, but still not desired, because this is not joyful. The stage that is joyful is the lotus feet of the Lord, serving the devotees of the Lord. That is very very joyful. That is where the devotees find a lot of satisfaction. So we will move from here. Yeah. So we will continue our discussion from 24th verse onwards. Can somebody give me names who would like to
I
read?
can I can do it, Prabhu.
So Manish ji
I
will
will
read,
also.
and
I'll
Vrindavanesh
also
will.
do.
Okay, fine. So Manish ji, please start 24th verse.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. Dharnarasya of a neophyte or attached yogi. This gigantic manifestation of the phenomenal material world as a whole is the personal body of the absolute truth, wherein the universal resultant past, present, and future of material time is experienced.
Hmm. So now in the 24th verse, the questions, what were the questions that was asked by Parikshit Maharaj regarding dharana? How is dharana accomplished? Hmm? What is the bona fide dharana ashraya? What is the object of meditation? So that answer is being, so how is dharana accomplished is already answered in the 23rd verse. What was the answer? First of all, you need to perfect the preliminary limbs of Ashtang Yoga. And what are those 5 preliminary limbs? Yama, Niyama, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar. So once you have mastered those 5 things, then you can come to dharana stage. So that is has been answered in the 23rd verse. Now he's answering the second question. Second question was, what is the bona fide dharanashraya? Dharanashraya means in the dharana stage, the objective is to meditate upon the form of the Lord. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking, what is that form? What is that object of meditation? किस पर ध्यान लगाना है? लाइट पर ध्यान लगाना है कि पेड़ पर ध्यान लगाना है कि आसमान पर ध्यान लगाना है? Where do we need to meditate upon? So the answer is given in, answer starts in the 24th verse. So first of all, he says that for a neophyte, for a beginner yogi, for a attached yogi, for a neophyte yogi, dharana ashraya is the gigantic manifestation of the phenomenal material world as a whole is the personal body of the absolute truth. So now you will see later on from the 26th verse onwards, what is that gigantic manifestation? So gigantic manifestation actually is this whole universe, this whole material world or this whole material universe has different elements. Like there are multiple lokas, there are sun, there is moon, there are many fire, there is fragrance, there is outer space, there is day and night, there is satya loka, there is varuna. Many things are there in this whole universe. So everything that is there in this material universe is equated with some limb of the body of the Lord. And this neophyte is advised to meditate upon this particular material aspect of the universe, and then uh, meditate upon this material aspect of this universe, considering it to be as one of the limb of the body of the Supreme Lord. So, like this, this dharanashraya is being now described. Let me see if I have anything else to share here. Hmm. So I gave you this explanation in the previous class also, that there is a comparison between the universal form that was seen by Arjuna and the Virat Roop that is being recommended for meditation to this neophyte yogi. So Arjuna saw that Virat Roop in real, in real. At one particular place, he got to see every element of the whole universe, every element of the whole universe sitting simply at one place. But this object of meditation or this Virat Roop being recommended for the neophyte devotee is actually a imaginary form of the Lord, uh, being experienced through the material manifestation in this world. So which we will see in a short while. Okay, we will go to the 25th one. So Manishji, please read the 25th.
Dharanashraya of a neophyte or attached yogi,
Hmm.
the gigantic universal form of the personality of Godhead within the body of the universal shell, which is covered by seven-fold material elements, is the subject of the Virat conception.
Yeah. So the gigantic universal form within the body of the universal shell. Universal shell means Brahmanda. Universal shell means Brahmanda. Brahmanda. Anda means this. These universes. The form of these universes is like an egg, like an anda. Hmm. So in this universal shell, in this Brahmanda, there are multiple elements. There are multiple elements. So what is being mentioned here? The gigantic universal form of the personality of Godhead within the body of the universal shell, which is covered by sevenfold material elements, is the subject of the Virat conception. So that is what is being mentioned. What is Virat Roop? So Virat Roop is all the elements that we see in the Brahmand, in the universal shell. That is in nutshell. So the idea is, where is this Virat Roop? Where is this universal form we can see? So the answer is given in this verses. The universal form can be seen in the Brahmand, in the universal shell. So there are multiple things in the universal shell in the Brahmand, and each and every element of the universal shell can be equated with one limb of the body of the Supreme Lord, and we meditate upon that. So that is what it is. And the picture that you see in this slide is you can see, maybe it is not very clear because this is some form or a human like form that is being made here, and you will see that the legs have been compared to Patal Lok, and then maybe hands are compared to something else, and then the face is compared to something else. Eyes probably are compared with sun or moon, like that. Forehead is compared with maybe something, some other element that is there in the universal shell, like that. So this is the pictorial representation of something like a Virat Roop, like a imaginary pictorial conception here. So here you will see from the table that you see on your screen, from the 26th to 28th verse, 14 planetary systems have been described as the limbs of the Virat Roop. 14 planetary system. So Manish ji, can you read one by one in the
Yes,
26th
yes,
verse? What are those planetary systems?
yes. Patal, bottom of the feet.
Hmm.
Rasatala, heels and toes. Mahatala, ankles,
Ankles.
sorry. Talatala, shanks, calves.
Okay, okay. So please just wait now. So you will see Patal, Rasatal, Mahatal, Talatal. Yeah, now you see here in this picture here. So the bottom of the feet, and then the ankles, and like that you see there heels and toes, ankles, or calves like shanks. So you will see here, this is being described here, and this is Patal, and then maybe Rasatal, and then Mahatal, and then maybe Talatal, like that. Okay.
Yeah,
27th.
yeah. Sutala, knees.
Hmm.
Vitala, lower part of two thighs. Atala, upper part of two thighs. Mahitala, earth, hips. Bhuvar, outer space, navel.
Hmm. Okay, move ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Swarga, chest. Maharloka, neck. Janaloka, mouth, face. Tapaloka, forehead. Satyaloka, head.
Head. Now you see here. So starting from the 14 planetary systems, if a neophyte yogi is there, he's advised, okay, you can meditate upon say Brahmaloka or Satyaloka, and you consider that Brahmaloka is actually the head of the Lord. That is the head part of the Lord, like that. So the whole body of the Lord is starting from the bottom of the feet, uh, all the way till the head. You can see that different planetary system are being mapped with the limbs of the body of the Lord. Okay. You will see that a similar conception we will discuss from verse number 38 to 41 later in the same second canto of Bhagavatam, but in the fifth chapter. Okay. 29th.
Yeah, yeah. Arms, demigods headed by Indra. Ears, gross ears. Dig Devtas, an organ of hearing at Jivas. Organ of hearing, subtle ears, sound. Nostrils, gross nostrils. Ashwini Kumaras, an organ for smelling of Jivas. Organ for smelling, subtle nostrils, fragrance, mouth, blazing fire.
Yeah.
Shall I go
Now
ahead?
here, yeah, I'll just, yeah. So gross ear and subtle ear. Gross ear means like we have our ears, and we have gross nostrils. So we have two nostrils, gross nostrils, which we can use for smelling, for fragrance. But try to understand that all these senses that we have in our body, they can be explained as gross senses and subtle senses. Subtle senses means which are not gross. uh, Say for example, uh, right now we have this ability to hear sound, external sound. How do we hear this external sound? We hear this external sound only when the external stimulus falls on the ear, our eardrum, and through this eardrum this sound is perceived by subtle ear, which is there, which is subtle, which is not gross, which is experienced and perceived by the subtle ear. Now what happens is, sometimes when people become deaf, what happens is, uh, this gross ear might become damaged. Maybe the eardrum is damaged. So when the external stimulus falls on the gross ear, we are not the subtle ear is not able to perceive it because the gross ear is destroyed. So this gross ear is connected with the subtle ear. Similarly, now what happens sometimes is, and you will see when you find this account of near death experience by many people. So what happens in the near death experiences is, when the soul and the subtle body means mind, intelligence, and false ego. So when the soul and the subtle body comes out from this gross body, then what has been mentioned by many people is that their ability to hear, their ability to see, their ability to smell becomes even better. Because with the age, when these gross senses become dull, or sometimes in the case of blind people, these gross senses are not able to see or able to hear or whatever, but on near death experiences, they are able to see. If a person who was blind during his lifetime, but after the near death experience or out of body experience, these people are able to see. Why these people are able to see? Because now they are no longer dependent upon the gross senses, so they are able to see. So this is what it means: gross ear and subtle ear. Now, ear have been compared to dig devatas, or the organ of hearing, and then the nostrils have been equated with Ashwani Kumaras, and then the uh, organ of smelling has been compared with the fragrance, like that. So here you can see here, in this picture, these arms are there, and you see there are uh, some depiction is shown here on the arms, and then maybe in the nostrils some depiction is given here. So like this, uh, the neophyte devotee will meditate upon the limb of this body, considering that he is actually meditating upon the Ashwani Kumaras, or maybe the blazing fire, like that. Okay, 30th one, Prabhu.
Yeah. Eye pits, outer space form,
Hmm,
eyeballs, sun, eyelids, day and night,
hmm.
movement of eyebrows, abode of Brahma, palat, Varuna,
Palate,
tongue,
palate. Hmm,
palate, Varuna, tongue, taste, juice of everything.
hmm. Okay, 31st.
Cereb- cerebral passage, Vedic hymns, jaws of teeth, Yama.
Yama. Okay, so like this, he meditates upon these limbs of the body of the Lord, and then these are some further representations of how these various limbs actually represent different elements of the universal form. Yama, Vedic hymns, taste, juice of everything, Varuna, abode of Brahma, day and night, sun, everything that you see in the universe can be equated with one some body of the Lord. Okay, further, Prabhu.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Two rows of teeth, art of affection, smile, Maya, glance, samsara. Yeah.
Okay.
Upper portion of lip, modesty, chin, hankering, breast, religion, back, irreligion, genitals, Brahma, testicles, Mitra and Varuna, waist, abdomen, ocean, stacks of bones, hills and mountains, veins, rivers, hairs, trees, breadth, wind and prowess of Ananta Sea, Anantashesha.
Ananta Shesha. Huh? So you can see some more description is given here. Okay. Finally, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe second
His
last step.
movement, yeah. His movement walking, passing ages time, his activities, reaction of three material modes, hair on head, clouds, dress, twilight, intelligence, prime cause of material creation, pradhana, mind, moon, the reservoir of all changes, consciousness, chitta, Mahatattva, ego, Rudra Deva, nails, horse, mule, camel, and elephant, hips, wild animals and all quadrupeds, masterful artistic sense, birds, deliberating intelligence, Manu, residence, humanity, musical ability, rhythm, Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, and Apsaras.
Hmm. So, for example, now you see here, just to give you an idea. So, for example, here if you see the 32nd verse here, hills and mountains. So, if he's meditating upon hills and mountains, the neophyte yogi will think that he's actually meditating upon the bones of the Lord, or oceans. So he will estimate, or he will assume that he is meditating upon the waist and abdomen of the Lord, like that. Okay, go ahead with the 31st. Hmm.
Yeah. Prowess, demonic soldiers, face, Brahmanas, arms, Kshatriyas, thighs, Vaishyas, feet, Shudras, prescribed duties, sacrifices with ingredients, and Devatas.
Yeah. So like this, you can see every other element in the universal form is equated with the body of the Lord, limb of the Lord. And where is this Virat Roop existing? It is existing in the Brahmanda, in the universal shell. I hope that is clear. Let me know some feedback.
Yes,
Is
Prabhu.
the
Clear.
is the
Yeah.
conception clear? Okay. So we now conclude this chapter with this 30th and 39th verse. Please read, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Thus, I have described the Virat Rupa, which is the bona fide Dharnashraya for the neophyte or attached yogi, desiring liberation. Meditating on any other form will cause his degradation.
Yeah. So now he is concluding, Sud Goswami is concluding this chapter, that he is giving you the idea that I have described you what is Virat Rupa, which is the bona fide Dharanashraya of the neophyte or the attached yogi. So the question asked was, what is the Dharanashraya? Hmm? What is the Dharanashraya? Means the object of meditation. So for the neophyte devotee, the object of meditation is this Virat Rupa. So who is the neophyte devotee who is not able to cleanse all his desires? He still has desires, maybe desire for mukti, desire for fame, whatever. And then he's advised to meditate upon the Virat Rupa. So this is the description of Virat Rup in the first chapter of the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I hope this Virat Rup, some idea is clear to you. I know it is very little bit abstract in nature. It is difficult to imagine about all these things. But since we are on the path of Bhakti Yoga, we need not worry about this Virat Rup. It is only for your information, not for practice and not for application. Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, very nice. Now we move to the second chapter. So the second chapter is the title of the second chapter is the Lord in the Heart. Now, from the previous chapter, in the first chapter, we see the discussion starts with the question of by Parikshit Maharaj, what is the how dharana is accomplished and who is the dharanashraya, means what is the object of meditation. So while answering this question, object of meditation, Sud Goswami, or sorry, Shukdev Goswami has already completed one part of the response, that for a neophyte devotee, the object of meditation is Virat Roop. So what does it mean? It means that now he will probably try to explain that who is the object of meditation of an advanced yogi, isn't it? But that discussion does not happen naturally just after the description of Virat Roop is finished. What happens is that Shukdev Goswami took a little detour. Look at little detour. So he is giving some explanation, and while jumping onto the explanation of who is the Dharanashraya of a advanced yogi, he sidetracks and start explaining something else. Something else. Now, what we will see that in the description of the the second chapter. So this is the overview map of the second chapter. As I was mentioning to you, the description of the Dharanashraya of the advanced yogi doesn't start immediately in the second chapter. So what starts in the immediately in the second chapter is the rejection of karma kanda. Actually, before the second verse, there is one verse also, the very first verse. That is, I will give you an explanation. What is this first verse? But more or less, the second chapter starts with the rejection of karma kanda, and then he goes on to describe about the dharanashraya of the advanced yogi, which is what? Paramatma. So while describing about Paramatma, he gives the description of the super soul. Super soul means Paramatma. And then ultimately he moves to 13th and 14th words, where he says dharanashraya of two kinds of yogis. He will conclude that. So he started with the description of the dharanashraya of a neophyte. Then, instead of giving you explanation of the dharanashraya of the advanced yogi, in between he inserts this description of the karmakanda thing and rejects the karmakanda. Like you remember in the first canto, the question asked was, please tell us about the birth of the Parikshit Maharaj. Yeah? And Sut Goswami starts to explain about the birth of the Parikshit Maharaj, and then he starts to describe that Lord Krishna is about to depart to Dwarka, and then Uttara comes running because Brahmastra has been hurled by Ashwathama. And then Kunti prayer starts, and then the Bhishma Stuti starts, and then the Lord's departure to Dwarka, Dwarka Vasi's prayers, and all that starts. And then at some point of time, the sages of Naimisharanya knocks, Suta Goswami, we asked you about Parikshit Maharaj's birth. You started explaining many things. Please, my dear sir, you come back to the topic. Similarly, some detour has taken place. The Shukdev Goswami started to describe about the Dharnashrava neophyte, but in between starts to reject, give a small talk on the rejection of Karmakanda philosophy. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear? Any feedback?
Yes, yes.
Rakesh ji? Okay. Rakesh ji, it is clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Hani ji? Hani Mata ji? Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhuji, clear.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Now we move ahead. So now we request Vrindavaneshwari Mataji, please read.
Yeah. Example of Brahmaji link is there someone who achieves success by meditating on without thought.
Yeah. So if you see
Sri
this, uh,
Sukadev,
yeah,
yeah,
please go ahead.
yeah,
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
okay. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, formerly, prior to the manifestation of the cosmos, Lord Brahma, by meditating on Viratari form, regained his lost consciousness by appeasing the Lord. Thus, he was able to rebuild the creation as it was before.
Okay. Now let me take you back to this overview map. Now in this overview map, you will see the verse starting from 2 and then ending at 37. So where is the first verse gone? Actually, the first verse is here. Why I did not list it there? Because there was not a big theme around this first verse. But the idea of speaking this first verse is, maybe there is a doubt in the mind of Parikshit Maharaj, because at the end of the first chapter of the second canto, the description of Virat Roop is finished. So there might be a question in Parikshit Maharaj that, can you, sir, please give me one example that who might have in the past meditated upon this Virat Roop? So Parikshit Maharaj then gives this verse number 1, where he is giving the example of Brahmaji. See, in past, Brahmaji have actually meditated upon the Virat Rupa of the Supreme Lord, and like that he kind of explains to Parikshit Maharaj. So we will not go a lot of detail into this first in this verse. We will probably explain this later on in the same canto. How did Brahmaji, when he did this creation, how did Brahmaji actually meditated upon this Virat Roop? So we will not take that subject matter, take that discussion right away. We will do it later. But suffice it to say, the idea of speaking this verse is to just give an example of a person who meditated upon Virat Roop in the past. So just like that. So that is the connection with the previous chapter. But now, as I mentioned to you, the discussion about neophytes, yogis, dharnashraya was going on, but Shukdev Goswami takes a detour, takes a different route. Something else he starts to discuss. And what is that topic that he starts to discuss? That topic is about Karma Kanda. So Karma Kanda, now before I start discussion on Karma Kanda, let me take some feedback from the class. From our previous discussions in our previous classes, what do you think is Karma Kanda? Maybe I'll take one or two answers from some devotees. So maybe say Manish Prabhu, can you explain what is Karma Kanda? Okay, maybe we'll ask, for example, Vrindavaneshwari Mataji, can you explain what is Karma Kanda?
Yeah. These are the ritualistic practices of a transcendentalist,
Hmm.
maybe. So, who perform all the rituals whether, to fulfill their desires. Like all the Vedic rituals, they
Hmm.
are like, how do I do not know how to put it in words. That means the Vedas, they will take you to Karma Kanda section where how to fulfill one particular desire. They have given you the mantras and they have given you the whole process
Hmm.
of ritualistic worship.
Yeah, nicely explained. But I think maybe we'll talk. We'll take one or two more inputs here. Jaimala Mataji, would you like to share something? What is Karma Kanda? You need to unmute yourself in case you want to share.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
I'm a little outside, Prabhu, so please
Okay.
excuse me.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. No worries. So we will.
Prabhuji, can I
Yes,
say?
Vasudevan Prabhu. What is Karma Kanda? Yeah.
Karma Kanda is basically that portion of Vedas which describes different processes for getting different material benefits, including heaven, including afterlife, but there are processes for material benefits.
Material
So
benefits.
somebody can get a better birth, can get a better, more affluent birth in the next, like this, or somebody wants a
Yeah.
son,
Hmm.
like Bharat Maharaj wanted a son. There are
Yeah.
these are all what come under Karma Kanda.
Karma Kanda. So Karma Kanda in short means fulfilling material desires through the process of some religious activities. Huh? So that part, and the Vedas have a big section on Karma Kanda where there are different rituals, there are different yagyas, pujas, vidhis, etc., etc. By following those vidhis, pujas, etc., one can fulfill their material desires. So it is using religion to fulfill their material desires. So that is what Karma Kanda means. Now here Shukdev Goswami, while entering into this discussion about Karma Kanda, is trying to emphasize, because there might be some Karma Kandis also sitting in the assembly. So uh, uh, so in order to address those sages, this Karma Kanda section has been uh, elaborated by Shukdev Goswami. So he is trying to say that Karma Kanda section or Karma Kanda objective of religion is really not acceptable. It is really useless. So that is what he's trying to say here. So Vrindavaneshwari Mataji, please continue to read now.
Yeah, yeah. So, in answer to what should a dying person do, some sages might recommend karma for attaining salvation to Swarga, as approved by the Vedas. Shukadev Goswami gives his opinion. The
Now,
way of presenting, yeah,
please go ahead. Yeah.
the way of presentation of Vedic sound is so bewildering that it directs the intelligence of the people to meaningless things like the heavenly kingdoms. The conditioned soul hovers in dreams of such heavenly, illusory pleasures, but actually they do not relish any tangible happiness in such places.
Yeah. So as I gave you in you can see some text in the blue font. So that is the link. Link means uh, here the subject matter is little bit changing, and how this particular section is connected with the previous section. So that is what it means, link. So the link is like again the same objective. Maybe there are some sages in the assembly who are more inclined towards the process of karma kanda. So Sukdev Goswami is at the same time shattering all those opinions that karma kanda is not at all recommended for you, Parikshit. And the way he's saying that the way of presentation of the Vedic sound is so bewildering that it directs the intelligence of the people to meaningless things like the heavenly kingdoms, Swarga. So he's connecting attaining Swarga, and from where this objective of attaining Swarga comes, it is actually coming from the Vedas. So Vedas describe so many things that if you want to attain Swarga, please do this. And then he's himself is saying it is meaningless. Then conditioned soul hover in dreams of such heavenly illusory pleasures, but actually they do not relish any tangible happiness in such places. So Shukdev Goswami is kind of rejecting Karma Kanda in this second verse. Right in the beginning, he's saying that it is possible that some people might think what is given in the Vedas is the ultimate objective of life, and the dying person should actually follow these kind of practices. But my dear Parikshit, that is actually meaningless. They are like dreams. They are like dreams. They are illusory dreams, and these pleasures are actually illusory. Why they are illusory? Because there is no tangible happiness in such places. So in dreams also, sometimes we might become prime minister of the country, sometimes we may get Grammy award, sometimes we may get Nobel Peace Prize, in dreams, and we might feel happy in the dreams. But is that happiness of any value? Is that happiness of any value? Vrindavaneshwari Mataji, is that happiness of any value?
Definitely not.
Why it is not of any value?
Because it is temporary,
Because it is
transient.
temporary. It is temporary. It is very transiting. It has no real substance to it. So that is why this karma kanda benefits have been compared with dreams. Okay, I hope that is clear, right? And if you see in Bhagavad Gita also, uh, uh, it is being mentioned that people who follow karma kanda may worship devatas, and while worshipping devatas they might attain heavens. But even after they enjoy the life in heavens, which is full of joy and full of sense gratification and so on, ultimately when their punyas, when their good pious activities are over, the karma phala of pious activities are over, they once again fall down to the earthly realm.
Shine
Shi-
punya, shine
Martyalokam
punya.
vinash, Martyalokam vishanti. Shine punya Martyalokam vishanti. That is something which you see in the Bhagavad Gita also. Okay, we move to the next one. Yeah.
For this reason, the enlightened person should endeavor only for the minimum necessities of life, while in the world of names, he should be intelligently fixed and never endeavor for unwanted things, being competent to perceive practically that all such endeavors are merely hard labor for nothing.
Hmm. Now, after rejecting karma kanda in the second verse, so what is karma kanda? Karma kanda is what Shukdev Goswami is describing, attaining heavens for material sense gratification and all that. So here in the third verse, Shukdev Goswami is encouraging simple living and high thinking. Simple living and high thinking. So just read once again. For this reason, the enlightened person should endeavor only for the minimum necessities of life while in the world of names. So this line, while in the world of names means everybody in this world uh, is running after some name. I am so and so. I studied here in IIT Delhi. I am a son of Prime Minister of India, and then I am actually Governor of Punjab, like that. So this is world of names. World of names means upadhi. Everybody is running after some designation in this material world. What does it mean? Designation in this material world means he's running after something like name, fame, prestige, power, glory, etc., etc. That is what it means, world of names. So Shukdev Goswami is saying that karma kanda is all about running after world of names. One should not run after world of names. Instead, if you really want something tangible, something good, something nice in your life, then endeavor only for the minimum necessities of life, simple living. Don't waste your time in running after names. Uh, Utilize your time for something tangible, something that will do some real good for you in your life. And what is that? At least run, at least maybe Ashtang Yoga is even better. At least you are trying to liberate yourself from this material world. Or even better is Bhakti Yoga, like that. Then he should be intelligently fixed and never endeavor for unwanted things, being competent to perceive practically that all such endeavors are merely hard labor for nothing. Hard labor for nothing. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Shrama eva hi kevalam. I want to become the richest person of this earth planet. But my dear sir, what are you going to achieve by becoming richest person of this earth planet? Ultimately, are you going to really become happy? Are you really going to satisfy yourself? If the rich people would be really happy, then you will find many examples where many rich people have committed suicide. If they were happy, then why would you think they would commit suicide? So at least know what is the real goal of life. So that is what he's trying to mention here. He's recommending simple living and high thinking. He's rejecting uh, opulent living or glorious living, or not glorious, I would say, very materialistic, opulent living, that kind of life he's kind of rejecting here. And he's trying to say that if you are running after these kind of benefits, heaven, prestige, power, fame, very opulent life, then you are actually wasting your time, simply wasting your time, hard labor for nothing. That is what he's trying to say here. Okay. Go to the next one. Now this is an important verse which we will recite also. What does it mean to live with minimum necessities? So in the previous verse, he has given an idea that we should minimize our demands. We should minimize our material demands, and this has some connection with the Ashtanga Yoga process. This has some connection with the Ashtanga Yoga process. In the Ashtanga Yoga process also, we minimize our demands. We go to the forest. We In the Pratyahar stage, we completely shut uh, our senses from the sense objects, like that. So it has something to do with Ashtanga Yoga process also. Now he will give you an explanation. What does it mean to live with minimum necessities? So what would be my question now? Generally, when the verse comes, what do I ask typically? What is the meter of this verse? What is the chanda? So can you tell me what is the chanda? Rakesh ji is expert in identifying chandas.
Maybe Trishtu.
Prabhu, please count the vowels.
3,
Let me
4,
see.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, okay. Trishtup.
12.
So what is the tone of Trishtup? What is the melody of Trishtup?
कार्पण्य दोषो पैता स्वभाव.
Satyam shitau kim kashipo prayasai. Mataji.
सत्यां शितौ किं दशितो प्रयासे
Baho swasiddhe hyupabarhanai kim.
बाहो स्वसिद्धे ह्युपरपन्नै
Satyanjalo kim purudhana patrya.
सत्याञ्जलौ किं पुरुषान्नपत्रा
Digval kaladau sati kim dakulai.
दिग्वल्कलादौ सति किं दुःखोलै.
Okay. Please read the line in English written in red.
Okay. So,
No,
okay.
in the
When
text.
there
Yeah.
are ample earthly flats to live on, what is the necessity of pots and beds?
Hmm. So in the previous verse, he is recommending to live a simple life. uh, Minimize your material necessities. So he is saying, uh, what does it mean to live with the minimum necessities? He's actually talking in terms of a very staunch Ashtanga yogi. A staunch Ashtanga yogi, when there are ample earthly flats uh, to lie on, what is the necessity for cots and beds? So why do you need bistar? Why do you need a palang when you can lie down on the earth planet? When you lie down on the when you lie down on the ground, which is sufficiently flat, why do you need cots and beds? So this is the first line. Okay, the second line, Mataji.
When one can use his own arms, what is the necessity of a pillow?
Yeah. So you can lie down like this. You can use your arm as a pillow. So why do you need a pillow? Hmm. Bahu swasiddhe hi upabarhanai kim. Baho means arms. When you have bahu, then why do you need a pillow? Don't need a pillow. Okay. The blue one.
When one can use the palms of his hand, what is the necessity of the writing of utensils?
Yeah. When you can use palms. So if you want to drink water, why do you need a glass? You can use palm, go to a river, and then have some water and drink water. So why do you need a glass? Why do you need a straw? Why do you need a bottle? So Satyanjalau means Anjali. Kim Purudhana Purudhana Patrae means a utensil. Patra means utensil, isn't it? So once you have Anjali, once you have your palms of his hands, then why do you need a utensil? Okay, the purple one.
When there is ample covering or skin of trees, what is the necessity of clothing?
हाँ, so when you have tree barks, तो पेड़ की जो छाल होती है उसको आप you can use it to cover your body. So why do you need a clothing? Why do you need a clothing? So it is this something like an extreme of simple living. So we need not follow this extreme of simple living. We need to properly clothe ourselves, have some house, have some bed and cot. But the idea is the encouragement. The encouragement Shukdev Goswami. Shukdev Goswami himself was a staunch yogi. He was a person who was trying to achieve impersonal Brahman liberation. He himself has mentioned it. Uh, so he's saying that when you have ample covering or the skins of trees, what is the necessity of clothing? Dig valkaladau sati kim dukulay. Valkaladau. Valkal means the tree bark. Sati kim dukulay. Why do you need a clothing? So this is the fourth one. Now we go to the fifth one. Again, the same theme continues, simple living. What does it mean to live with minimum necessities? So now, what is the meter here? Rakesh ji, what is the meter? Please help.
वसंत तिलका प्रभु जी
Prabhu has become expert now. Prabhu has become a Chand expert, Chand Pandit. Meter
सब
Pandit. Very nice. So what is the melody? What is the tone?
Govindam Madhukar.
Govindam Adi Purusham, the Brahma Samhita. Venu Gwanantamaravinda Dalayatakszam. So how will we say? Chirani kim patina santi dishanti bhiksham.
Sriyani Timpachina Santi Dishanti Bhiksham.
Naivangripaha parabhratah sarito apyashushyan.
Naivam Vika Paraphritaha Sarito Pihashyam.
Ruddha guhaha kimajito vati nopasannan.
Buddha Guhati Majito Rati Nupani Sannan.
Kasmat bhajanti kavayo dhanadur madandhan.
Tasmad Bhajanti Kavayo Dana Durmadandhan.
Excellent, excellent. So now you can see how nicely we can recite Srimad Bhagavatam. The moment we recognize the verse, we recognize the reference verse, we can immediately are able to recite the Sanskrit of Srimad Bhagavatam, isn't it? So the reading of Bhagavatam, the relishment of Bhagavatam becomes even more joyful. Huh? Okay. Now Mataji, please read the red English.
Yeah. Are there no torn clothes lying on the roads?
Chirani kim pathina santi. Chirani means clothes. Pathi means roads. Are there no clothes lying on the roads? Somebody might have thrown some old cloth, so you can use that and use it for your purpose. Why do you need to go to the shopping mall? Why do you need to uh, do some lot of fashion that I need a cloth like this fashion, that fashion? Why waste time in all that? Get some simple cloth lying maybe somewhere on the road and cover yourself. Okay, the next in the green.
Do the trees which exist for maintaining others no longer give alms in charity?
Dishanti bhiksham naivangripaha parabhrataha. Dishanti bhiksham. Bhiksham means if you want to need some bhiksha, just go to a tree. A tree will give you a shade, tree will give you some fruit, tree will give you some flower, uh, tree will give you some wood for burning fire, for getting some heat. So you can get everything from the tree. Why do you need to go to somebody to go for charity? Okay, the blue one.
Do the rivers being dried up no longer supply water to the thirsty?
Sarito api ashushyan. Ashushyan means very thirsty. Sarita means river. If you are thirsty, go to a river. There will be so much supply of water for you. Okay. The purple.
Are the caves are the caves of the mountains now closed?
And if you need some housing, why do you need to go to that apartment or that apartment or that building? Just go to a cave and you will find a shelter. Okay. Yellow.
Or above all, does the Almighty Lord not protect the fully surrendered soul?
Huh. So, above all, for everything, if you have really surrendered to the Lord, then the Lord will take care of you. Then the Lord will take care of you. So this is the mentality, this is the mood of a sannyasi, of a staunch yogi, of a staunch ashtang yogi. He has already left his life, left his family life, left the active social life, and then now he's actually trying to live like this. So he's glorifying the path of ashtang yoga compared to karma kanda. But ultimately he's recommending bhakti yoga only. So now read the blue one, Mataji.
Why then do the learned sages go to slaughter those who are intoxicated by the hard-earned wealth?
Hmm. So if you are a sannyasi, the sannyasi should also be dependent upon the Lord for his providence. A sannyasi should always be dependent upon the Lord. So that is something what Shukdev Goswami is saying. So sannyasi should not be like a parasite. One should not take sannyas simply to enjoy the property of others. That I will wear this sannyas clothes, will go begging for bhiksha, and when people will give me bhiksha, I will be enjoying that bhiksha. No. Sannyasi's job is not to become a parasite. Sannyasi's job is meant to become somebody who want to give spiritual knowledge to the society for their betterment. And then he should go to the grahastha ashram people to give some spiritual knowledge. And after receiving that spiritual knowledge, just it is the duty of the grahastha ashram people to maintain the sannyas ashram. So they can give him them some food, some clothing, and then like that, the both the ashram should actually serve each other. So sannyasi should not become a parasite, like that. So it is being mentioned here that uh, a sannyasi or a staunch devotee or a staunch yogi should live in a cave. So Prabhupada ji in his purports give an example of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur is a very exalted Vaishnava Acharya in the Vaishnava Parampara. In the Vaishnava Parampara, he has been given the upadhi, given the designation of Namacharya. He would chant the holy names in such purity and with such conviction that he has been given the upadhi of Namacharya. So Haridas Thakur actually used to live in a cave, and in those caves, it is mentioned that there were a lot of snakes. Ah, so, uh, so what happened was that uh, when Haridas Thakur went to those caves, the snakes actually automatically left that cave all by themselves. How it is possible? Because the same Paramatma who is there in the heart of Haridas Thakur is also there present in the heart of the snakes. So the Paramatma motivated the snakes to leave that place. So why it is being mentioned here, this story? It is being mentioned because Paramatma, the Lord himself, take care of his staunch devotee. Uh, So that staunch devotee, the Paramatma took care by motivating the snakes to leave the cave. So this devotee never feels alone. He always feels the presence of the Paramatma, presence of the Lord within his heart. Even Prabhupada also mentions that. He mentions that when he was in US, he never felt alone. He always felt that his spiritual master is always helping him, he's guiding him, like that. So this is the fifth verse. Now we go to the sixth one. Hmm.
Yeah. Is it necessary for the yogi to search out the ingredients for worshipping the Lord?
Yeah, now just wait a moment. So here we saw in the previous two verses what is simple living being mentioned in terms of staunch yogi. Now, a staunch yogi, somebody might question that a yogi might need a lot of paraphernalia for worshipping the Lord. So the answer is given here that the yogi actually doesn't need anything for worshipping the Lord. He can meditate upon the Lord within the heart. He doesn't need big temples. He doesn't need big paraphernalia. Uh, so that is the sixth verse. Yeah. Okay. Please read.
Thus being fixed, one must render service unto the super soul situated in one's own heart by his omnipotency, because he is the almighty personality of Godhead, eternal and unlimited. He is the ultimate goal of life, and by worshipping him, one can end the cause of the conditioned state of existence.
Yeah. So in the context of Ashtanga Yogi, it is being mentioned that you even don't need anything, any arrangement like big temples. You can simply meditate on the Paramatma of your in the heart, and then can achieve that ultimate goal, which is mainly to cease one's material existence. You can seize your material existence, you can get liberation, go to the Brahma Jyoti, merge into the Brahma Jyoti, simply by meditating on the Paramatma in the heart, like that. So the idea is not to discourage temple worship. Rather, Prabhupada mentions in the purport that it does not mean that we should stop going to the temple. So it is actually being mentioned for an Ashtang yogi, for a very staunch yogi, not for Bhakti yogis. For Bhakti yogis, we still have, as practitioner Bhakti yogis, sadhaka bhaktas, we still have lot of dirt in our heart in the form of lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy. So we should certainly take benefit of these temples where there is a lot of nice spiritual environment, where we can take benefit of that environment and can educate ourselves. We get education, spiritual education in the temples. We can worship the Lord in the temples. We get devotee association in the temple. We get lot of peaceful environment, lot of spiritual environment, lot of opportunity for service, engagement in the temple. So the verse is not actually to discourage us from temple worship, but it is an idea that Shukdev Goswami is propagating here, that instead of karma kanda, it is better to become an Ashtang yogi. What is the use of running after all these opulent material benefits, which is ultimately waste of time? But instead, live simple life, live life of simplicity, have a high thinking in terms of have higher goal, higher purpose in life, like that. It is being mentioned here. So uh, that is the objective. Okay, we move to the seventh one.
Who else but the gross materialist will neglect such transcendental thought and take to the non-permanent names only, seeing the mass of people fallen in the rivers of suffering as the consequence of accruing the result of their own work.
So here he is concluding now this section, rejecting of karma kanda. So he's saying that except for a gross materialist, whose buddhi is only towards running after material opulence. I get many son, I get a good wife, I get a good husband, I get good wealth, I get promotion, I get this, I get this. Only a gross materialist will only be attracted to take these non-permanent names. So what do you think non-permanent names here refer to? Any guesses?
Devas,
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 very good.
Demigods.
Demigods. So don't chant Hare Indra, or maybe Indra, or maybe Surya. No, don't. There is no need for chant these non-permanent names, because the benefit that they will give you is only non-permanent. Like it is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita that they give you this benefit, but this benefit doesn't last for long. Ultimately, this benefit is taken away from you, like that. So, seeing the
Avidhi
mass of,
Purvakam.
sorry, Mataji, Avidhi
Avidhi
Purvakam.
Purvakam.
Yeah, Avidhi Purvakam, right. Seeing the masses of people fallen in the river of suffering as the consequence of accruing the result of their own work. So ultimately, you can see this in this whole section from second verse to seventh verse. The process of karma kanda has been discouraged, and instead simple living, high thinking is encouraged. Although it is being encouraged in the context of an ashtang yogi, a very staunch ashtang yogi, but for us we can actually take a hint from it that we need to minimize our material necessities and we need to maximize our spiritual endeavor. That is the message we can take it from here. So I will stop here. I will not go to the next section. Maybe next section we can cover in the next class in the view of time, but I hope you got the idea here now. Is there any question? Is there any question with the devotees today? We conclude the class here. We'll start with the eighth verse in the next class. Uh, all glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. If you have any comments, any question, please let me know. I will like to mention that the second canto is very technical. You will see the descriptions about Virat Rupa, and then uh, this Dharana Ashraya, object of meditation, Krama Mukti, Shat Chakra Yoga, all these things will be there. So it's a little technical, but I hope you are
So we are
sailing along.
actually
Hmm,
after discussing the Dhyana Yoga to some
hmm,
extent, we
hmm.
discussed the Karma Yoga. We are coming to Karma Yoga,
Actually, it is
starting
Karma
from
Kanda.
Karma Kanda.
It is Karma
Yeah,
Kanda, not exactly Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is
but
elevated than
yeah,
Karma Kanda.
matlab, but first he explained why should we reject Karma Kanda.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
we went to the life of a yati, a sannyasi. So
Hmm.
that is he's slowly coming to Karma Yoga and or maybe Nishkam Karma Yoga. And finally, maybe it will be like
No, no, it is
those
not
will
Karma
be
Yoga. It is mainly Karma Kanda. And then now, from the 8th verse onwards, he will come back to the original track. He will now describe the
right.
Dharanashraya of the perfected yogi or the advanced yogi. That's where
All
he
this
will.
is karma kanda. Are you sure, Prabhuji? Like the instructions that are given by Shukadev Goswami, where he's saying that why do you need this? Why do you need that?
Yeah, it is Karma
So,
Kanda. It is rejection of Karma Kanda, and a contrast has been given of Ashtang Yogi's life. Of Ashtang Yogi's life.
oh, okay,
In
okay,
the contrast of Ashtang Yogi's life, Karma Kanda has been rejected.
all right.
Okay. Yeah. So, any doubts? No doubts. Okay. So I'll
Hare
just.
So, where will you keep this sannyas? I'm so sorry. Please go ahead, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Mataji, your question? Any question?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting it clearly. Maybe you can explain one more time, and then I'll be mum.
No.
Like you
What is?
said,
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah. So we are drawing a contrast between Karma Kandi
Hmm.
and the Ashtanga Yogi. You're saying
Hmm.
this person who's rejecting Karma Kanda and whom Shukadev Goswami is saying, why do you must live a simple life.
Hmm.
So this simple life, this is of a Ashtanga Yogi or a
It
person
matches.
who
It
has.
matches more. It matches more with that of Ashtang Yogi, not of Karma Yogi.
Okay, okay, now I get. Thank you. Thank you
The
so much.
life actually matches more with the life of Ashtang Yogi, who has already left his
Fine.
family, who has already renounced
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
in the social from the social perspective, and he's now
yeah,
lying on the ground as his cot, using his arms
yes,
as pillows,
yeah,
drinking
yeah,
water from the river, like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Ishwar Prabhu, you were trying to say something.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Yes.
very interesting as usual. The second half was really excellent. The first half was little, it made me little, I had started yawning in between
Okay.
because the whole thing was names and names and names. But anyway, it's a part of
Yeah,
whole
it's
thing and try
yeah,
to pick up that also. Yeah.
yeah.
Otherwise, really good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, okay. So that's where we conclude. We'll start our discussion in the next class from the 8th verse onwards, where description of Paramatma in the heart, yeah, is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we will take it from there. huh? Now in the next class, the services are I think Rakesh ji, please help me. Uh, Manish Kulkarni ji will recite Mangalacharan, and Vasudevan Prabhu will do the summary. Okay. Okay, let me take feedback from Hani Mataji also. This is her second encounter with us.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, are you still happily situated in your original consciousness, or are you thinking of uh, finding it really challenging or whatever?
No, no, Prabhuji, not challenging.
Okay. Is-
It's okay. Earlier, I used to ask many questions, but gradually, I'm like going to
Uh,
the right path.
okay, okay. So you are
So,
already getting answers to the questions you
yes,
might
yes.
have. Okay,
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji.
good.
Very nice.
Okay, thank you, Ji. Thank you. Okay, Manish Prabhu. Next class, Mangalacharan. And then we have Vasudevan Prabhu as our summary. Okay, then we take your permission, take rest. We'll meet in the next class from our eighth verse onwards. Thank you very much. Hare
Hare Krishna. Pranam, Sri Prabhu.
Hare
Thank
Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
And Pranam, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Dandvat
Krishna.
Pranam Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.